I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. From Broken to Brilliant, How Horses Mirror Our Way Back to Wholeness. No other than Miss Kasia Bukowska. Welcome to Book 101, Miss Kasia, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I am a horse connection trainer and coach, and I am also an equine pet portrait artist, specializing in horses, but also do pet portraits and soul stories. I have a very inspirational roller coaster ride of a story, and I am very excited to share that information with your followers and listeners.
Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Your horse is the mirror of your soul. Can you tell us about this?
Yes. So I actually started connecting with horses on a more emotional and spiritual level and understanding how they mirror my soul and everyone's souls. Once I hit my rock bottom physically and mentally. I was diagnosed with lupus. I was bedridden and in a wheelchair and told I would never ride horses again. And my whole life revolved around horses. I even moved to a country to the other side of the planet for a horse to pursue my riding career. And soon after that, I was left bedridden. And I really struggled emotionally because my whole life revolved around horses, and now I would never be able to sit on one again. And I had this severe pain in me. This emotional pain was even deeper than the physical pain of not being able to move. And something inspired me. Amberly Snyder on Google. I literally typed into Google how to train a horse from a wheelchair, and I saw that it was possible, and that started me on my journey because I saw someone else did it, so I can do it, and I'm not going to listen to the doctors. And that started opening me up to a different way of seeing the horse and understanding the horse. And so when I started to paint horses in my bed to keep that connection, but also to process my emotions. So painting exercised my fingers, my joints, but it also helped me, stay in touch with the spirituality of horses and start tapping into my intuition, which I never listened to in the past because that's too woo-woo. That's what I thought about it. And I got strong enough to go to the barn and see the horses, but I wasn't strong enough to do anything with them or even to walk out to them. So I would sit and I would observe. I would observe for hours and hours, and that's all I could do for a good year and a half. And, had I not been bedridden and in so much pain, I never would have taken the time to observe them. But I observed their behavior in the herd, and I observed their behavior on their own. And I started to recognize certain signals that they would give each other, their body language and the energy about it. And so when I started getting stronger and stronger and started working with my horse, I had one horse at the time, I saw him giving me these similar signals that I saw with the other horses. And what was really interesting is that I came at it completely different. My intention was not like to ride per se, but to just connect with the horse. Which is the exact opposite of my goals before lupus. It was to jump as high as possible, to win as many competitions as possible, to collect as many ribbons and trophies, and that was my goal. And so this was something new, and it was actually really frustrating because the first time that my horse really provoked and mirrored something to me, and at that time I did not exactly understand what he was doing, it made me fall into pieces, and it made me want to sell him. I just felt like a complete failure. And it wasn't about the training. It wasn't about the method. It wasn't about anything like that. He was literally showing me how I felt about myself in my own life in other areas, that I did feel like a failure in certain areas of my life. And so he mirrors me in that he's able to push certain buttons. He reflects what my subconscious is ready to work on. So when that emotion comes up in me and I am triggered and I'm very frustrated because my goal is to get him to trot in a circle around me and he doesn't want to. And he just stands there looking at me, frozen. And, you know, I'm trying all these things. I'm trying to be creative. I'm trying to energize him. I'm trying to now force it and use pressure. I'm trying all these things and nothing is working. But what I wasn't ready to face was, can we just be present for a moment? Do you have to do training? Can we just be? Or do you feel like you have to prove yourself? And at that time, I didn't see it that way. I just felt like my horse was showing me who's boss. And I felt like the worst trainer ever, and this is never going to work, and he deserves better, and I should just sell him. And all of these negative things, and this like tornado of negativity was just pulling me down, and I cried. And I went home and I painted something, and I painted this laughing horse in a very abstract manner. It was a huge painting, and it was very, you know, when I painted it, I was in anger and sadness, but when someone else looked at this painting, they saw happiness. And I actually sold this painting to a guy in Australia, and it was really interesting because I processed this with my psychologist, and I was just like, I don't understand how everyone sees how this is a happy painting, because they see it as the horse laughing. But I painted this so aggressively, and that actually helped me understand how my horse was a mirror for me. He reflected back my anger about, I guess, myself, essentially, that I wasn't going in line with my soul's purpose and what I thought was right. I was trying to prove myself to other people. And so there was this anger in me. And when I was able to feel that anger and cry and paint, I literally released it. I was able to release it. And so that did bring happiness and joy. So it's interesting. And it was a very like mind-blowing aha moment where this painting did bring a lot of happiness and peace to me. And I thought, wow, you know, my horse is so intuitive, so intelligent, has this wisdom for me. He's better than a psychologist because he doesn't have to say anything. He pulls it right out. And he's able to teach me so much. And so I started getting really hungry about learning more about this. And that's what really started like my journey of how emotions are connected to physical illness and how my horses can help me through that.
Well, we salute you for doing that, Miss Kasia. You break the Kasia decode. How do horses magnify emotions we suppress in a way humans don't?
So we are really good at hiding who we truly are. We create this identity, this mask of what we think other people want us to be, but horses are much more spiritual and they can feel past that. So they don't respond to these masks. They respond to how you feel at your core. And so you can pretend all you want with your horse, and you can pretend and say, oh, I've worked on this and this, and I don't have a problem with this. And you show up to the barn and you show up with your horse and you're just smiling and you do feel happy, but it's on a surface level. And your horse will be able to touch on certain points that are not exactly healed. And so when you feel this emotional trigger, it could be something like fear that comes up for you. It could be something, maybe embarrassment that comes up. Frustration, I think, is a very common one in the equestrian world. Then it's a signal for you. It's not that your horse is disobeying you or behaving badly, but he's literally showing you something that your subconscious is telling you you're ready to work on if you're willing to face it. And what's interesting, like when I'm thinking about my psychologist, because I went to a psychologist for many, many years, and my horse, when I talk about my feelings with my psychologist, it's hard. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to say all of that stuff. I don't want to go into it. I don't want anyone to know. But with a horse, you don't necessarily have to say those things, but the communication is still there. And when I started realizing that when I can work with a client, for instance, and a horse, and we can work through their trauma through the horse, it's not as difficult to start talking about their trauma because they kind of make their story tangible through the horse. So, for instance, let's say, one client comes to mind that there's this jump, very, very small, and the client had to walk the horse over the jump. And the clients had started thinking, and how is the horse going to do this? This is too big, finding all of the reasons why this isn't possible. And they get to the jump, and the horse stops and turns away. And so this person is pulling and pulling and pulling, and they feel helpless, they feel defeated, they feel failure, they feel like giving up, they feel, see, like I told you, this wasn't possible. But the lesson in this was that you feel like you have to do it here and now and right now. And when I suggested that we just lengthen the line, just forget about the horse, still stay connected and hold the horse, but make some space. You walk over the little jump, come to me, let's sit down on the floor, let's take a breath, and who cares about this exercise right now? And lo and behold, this person starts walking over the jump, and the horse follows. So it was like right when this person surrendered and had permission from me to say, you don't have to do the exercise right now. Like, let's take a break. This person needed that outside permission to say it was okay not to do it, to relax. And when that surrender came, the horse was able to walk. So now when we analyze the situation of what did the horse do and what did the person do, then we can talk about it, and it's easy. It's relatively easy because this person isn't taking it so personally, because it's not about their mother or their father or what happened in their childhood. They're not talking about that. They're talking about this horse in this situation. After we process everything about the horse in the situation, we see, how is that a metaphor for your childhood or your life? In what part of your life? And then it's usually like a, oh my gosh. The whole thing about how I just described how this horse was behaving and what was happening. Now they realize that they were actually talking about themselves. But had I just asked this person, what was your experience when your father told you you had to do this right now? Then there would have been a wall that came up. It would have been like, I don't know. And the mind can just block out. I'm not ready to look at that, to face that. But first, when we talk about the horse, what did the horse do? And you don't make it about them and their situation and their pain, then it makes it a lot easier for them to relate to it in not such a scared, protective way. They're no longer in survival mode, and they're more willing.
Yes, indeed, Miss Kasia. How do we distinguish true emotional mirroring from projecting human narratives onto horse behavior?
Distinguishing emotions from the human narrative and horse behavior. So, for example, there are certain things that horses do. There are body signals, and they can do this in response to how we feel and how we show up and our body language, which most people are really, really body unaware. They're really not conscious of what they are doing, how they are doing it, and what energy they are projecting out. And so I also use the horse to be able to teach people about their body awareness and what they are doing, because they're so focused on what's going on outside of them that they're not able to be in tune with themselves, with their spirit, with their soul, with their energy, with themselves. They're always thinking about everything outside of them, not everything that's going on inside of them, including emotions. So what's great about the horse is that they show certain signals, which I can teach people. Okay, when the horse puts its ears flat back, then that means the horse is angry. And then you know that maybe you're creating a space for the horse to make the horse feel that way. So what can you do to help the horse feel better? So again, in this way, we're making it about the horse first before we talk about the person. So let's say this horse is angry. This horse puts their ears back. The horse is threatening them. Don't come to me. And then we take a step back and we analyze, okay, this horse gave this signal. We know this signal. And what did we do in this situation that caused that? Was it where you were standing? Was it how fast you were walking or running? What were you doing with your hands? And usually in the beginning, people have no idea. I don't know. I just walked towards the horse. So they just wanted to attack me. And again, that's like them throwing it all on the horse. The blame is on the horse. Well, the horse should know that I'm coming and I just want to pet the horse. And so then when I have people who are physically here in person, not my one-on-one coaching, but physically here in person, I will ask their permission to touch their bodies, and I will literally put my hands on their hips and tell them how their hips were in this position where it's their belly button, for example, is pointed right towards the horse, which is almost like a lion walking straight and directly to attack them. Whereas if they turn their hips slightly to the side so their belly button was off to the side, and had they started walking in a curve, a lion would not run and attack in a curve. A lion would just go for it. And also like the way their shoulders were, the way they hold their head, the way that they walk, what kind of speed. And then, I start showing them like different types of walking. Like I march like a soldier. I walk like I'm embarrassed. I walk like I'm in pain. And so they can start to visually see me and how my different physical body and energy positions and how I walk, how it affects the horse and how my horse responds to it. And how I can invite my horse in without having to go touch the horse. I literally don't need a rope or a halter. I don't need anything. I can use my body and my awareness of what I'm doing and awareness of my emotions to calm myself and invite the horse in.
Interesting, Miss Kasia. Interesting indeed. And what are your short-term and long-term goals, Miss Kasia?
So my short-term goals are to be able to start some online courses for equestrians who want to be more aware of themselves and their horse. That's just short-term. I have some things in the pipeline right now. It's going to happen. But long-term, I am expanding my barn to build a retreat center here. And this will not only be for horse people, but anyone who has experienced trauma. Because horses can show you so much, and I don't want to limit that just to equestrians. I want it to be open to anyone who is ready to take that step, to get uncomfortable, to release all of that negativity and that suffering and that baggage. So I have a back house. It is in the works, and I have 6 horses here, and I am really excited that hopefully not this summer, but next summer, I will be holding week-long retreats here, healing retreats with horses.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Kasia, and looking forward for more success. What would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a coach for a horse like you?
My advice for people who are looking to become a coach would be to find someone who's interested in a horse behavior, a horse behaviorist, and to start learning from them. Because if you go to a regular barn, regular horse riding lessons, yes, they may have some horsemanship lessons. I do these air quotes because I don't believe it's true horsemanship unless they get to an emotional level with the horse, where a lot of classical barns just want to show and jump higher and do more. And that's not like a behaviorist's goal with a horse, and not my goal with a horse. It's to understand the emotions of a horse. And so working with a behaviorist first would be very beneficial. And if you're really new to horses, before you even go for a horse riding lesson, I would say also find someone who's able to help you work with a horse on the ground first. So you get to know the horse and you get to know their soul first on the ground before you get on their back. And you get to see their behaviors and how they move closely. And then to help you more on the emotional side of things, of yourself and not necessarily just the horse, then I highly recommend this book, The Journey by Brandon Bays, because she healed a tumor through facing those deep, dark shadows and emotions and really just sitting in it, which I found in my journey to be so helpful with my lupus. Because as you can see now, like I am active. I have 6 horses. I take care of them. I train all of them. I do everything here. And it is definitely possible to rewire your brain, even turn off some parts of your DNA, the bad ones that are causing you to feel sick, and to turn on the good parts of your DNA. And this book really helps you understand human emotions and why you have these aches and pains. And it makes so much more sense then when you walk up to a horse, you get triggered by something, fear, frustration, anxiety, anger. And then after reading this book, you'll be like, oh, this is an emotion that I need to sit with for a moment. And you'll learn to process it with the horse, next to the horse.
Thank you for your advice, Miss Kasia, as well as your recommended book. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and of course my book 101 review in 5th season as well. Comedy 101 in 2nd season, food 101 in 5th season as well, geography 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in 3rd season, Movie 101 review in 4th season, as well as my Music 101 and Science 101 and Sex 101 in each 1st season. Listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Miss Kasia, if our horse is truly a mirror, what is the most courageous question we should ask ourselves when we look into it?
If your horse is truly your mirror, what is the question we should ask ourselves? When you're around your horse and you have a feeling, whatever that feeling is, ask yourself, when is the first time I felt this? And go back to that memory, and that will give you so many answers.
Miss Kasia Bukowska, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business as well as your advocacy?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. So my horse connection training is hearthorseexperience.com, and on Instagram and TikTok you will find me at equestrian Kasia Bukowska, and my artwork is kasiabukowska.com.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Kasia Bukowska, because if you support her, more and more and more empowering coaching to come, more and more empowering arts to come. So Miss Kasia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.